Divine Essentials. Hello, this is Starseed Shaman podcast, and we are back. Well, I know that I'm sure, like, you gotta understand, my life is a little weird, on a lot of levels, but there's people out there that watch me, but in different ways. It's weird. It's like there's people out there who watch me on YouTube, okay? And they may just choose one channel and that's it. And then there's others that watch both channels. And okay. And then there's some that are on Instagram and they might just be on Instagram, or they might be on Instagram and one channel or both channels, or they might just be on whatever, Facebook, freaking TikTok, fucking all these places that people have come from. Stay around by, swing on in, listen to the podcast. There's some that are for all of it, some that are not, and that makes it a little weird, but I also feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of hard, because like if you are in a business mindset and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna run the best business, I'm gonna do this social media thing all the way right, you don't do what I do, because it's gonna be harder to do what I do, and it's gonna probably take a lot longer. The reason I do it though, and like continue to do it, even though I know that it's probably not the best for like my pocket, is because there's people out there that need the help in all those areas. So I never know where I'm going to be called. But there really is, and I end up helping a lot of people in a lot of different ways, and I just keep doing it, and I keep like getting pulled back and forth throughout, it. But I do believe that it's also like a united thing for a lot of people, maybe not everybody, and that's because everybody's on a different degree. Some people, they have a twin flame. Some people think they have a twin flame, and some people want a twin flame, okay? There's levels and degrees of it. Many of them do not have one, and they think they have one. Many of them want one, and anybody who has one's like, why the fuck do you want this? Like, people are nuts. So I have all those people out there. This makes it hard for me to like communicate to all of them at once, or for everybody to always understand what's coming through or how it's interconnected. But I do believe as we continue to go forward, more and more of it's going to be like integrated into one, and people who are twin flames may wake up to the fact that they're also starseeds. If they are, maybe they're not. Again, there are starseeds, and then there's real ones that want to be one that aren't, and ones that are one but don't know or don't want to accept it. There's all of that. And I've been through a lot of those stages, and I've been through a lot of different places or feelings of like, maybe this is it or maybe that is it, but I don't know. Eventually you'll find what's right for you, usually, and things will kind of just stick once you've accepted it. It's stuck, it's there. And then, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? I'm gonna get you. What you doing? What the hell is wrong with you? Like, I have so many dogs. They're a pain in the ass. Seriously. Every time I do something, want to do something, think about doing something, they're like, no, you're gonna do this. It's like, fuck you. And there's so many of them. This one's Alcyon. When I did the thing I did the other night, where I was taken. So basically, I said, I'm back, right? I'm back because I was not in this fucking world for a little while. I was, but I was like tapped into a higher dimension or something, because it was nonstop. And I've captured it on fucking video. People can see it was here, they're in my hair. They're fucking like, I'm everywhere, in my house, outside of my house, in the tree by my window. And I have long video of these things, and People have no attention span, people don't care, things like that. So a lot of times it makes it hard to share stuff. Plus, some of the stuff that I did capture was like, I don't want to share it with anybody because I don't like when people don't honor things, and I don't like when people are, just how people are. There are times that I've I ask like my own personal questions. So like obviously when you send me in your questions to get a reading, you're not looking for that to be blasted, everywhere about what those questions are and what the answers to those questions are. So, the same thing when I'm doing that for me. I don't want necessarily, I don't care if like people hear the answers and stuff like that. I don't like when other people send their energy in on my answers is the problem. It's not that like there's anything wrong with my answers or the questions or whatever, but first of all, there's people out there who judge, and then there's people out there who will not want you to have the answers to those questions if they're jealous, if they're angry, if they're resentful, if they're fucking petty, if they're of this world. Basically, there's a lot of that, and we really need to be more mindful too, everybody, because if your life sucks, if things are going wrong and you're just like, I don't fucking understand, why does everything keep going wrong, it's probably a little bit of mindset, because after you get beat down through things, it's like, oh fuck, this world fucking sucks, and when you think that, say that, it does suck. But if you can shift that and get away from the people that make it suck, or make it so that the people that do suck don't suck as much. Depends on the people, depends on your situation. I know not everybody can just get up and run away from whatever they're in. I've been there, and it took time to get away from there, but you can do it. And you could, if you wanted to, say, fuck you, I'm out of here, and take off. But a lot of people don't because they're afraid, or they don't know what that means. Where am I going to go? How am I going to afford to live? Blah, 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 blah. I don't know, man. You just do it. You fucking do it. It happens. For myself, I don't know what button I happened to press in the universe that day, but it was like, oh, hey, I'm going to change everything real quick. Dad's coming home. This guy's going away. There's going to be this lady who shows up like a week before. You find out that your person that you've been living with for the past fucking, 8 years is going away, and this is your chance to go the fuck out of here. So either do it or don't, and here's your dad for a little help, because obviously living in this fucking world is not easy, money-wise and all of that, especially as a girl. It's like, oh fuck, they don't want to pay you to do anything unless you fucking make it your own, or just try really hard, do a couple of different things all at once. And then like obviously having the woman that came into my life, who basically is like, I fucking like it. They just sent an angel in. They were like, here you go, this woman wants to be like available to help you in the situation where the people that I knew for so fucking long took off. I'm like, what the fuck? My mom died, and then all of my friends were like, bye, bitch. I was like, oh my god, I liked you. I told you my feelings. I don't do that, assholes. So yeah, they all took off. And I don't even know why is the biggest thing about it. Like I think I kind of know why, and at the truth and the core of it, I get it. Like, I know I'm not a perfect person, but I never did anything to anybody. I never went after them. I never hurt them. All I did was try to help a lot of people with like their stuff. But I always got treated poorly, or taken advantage of, or fucking like got to be to a place where it was like, I don't like you anymore because you're not who you were when you showed up here. When you showed up here, you didn't have shit. You were fucking scared and beat down, and one of them saw what the other one was doing to me, and like the big thing that helped there, wow, you're a savior, is they paid me. the hourly rate that but it was $15 an hour to do all the website stuff, to do all that stuff. I did that. I redid their stuff. I brought people in to that place for my stuff and other stuff, and then other people would come from far away and all of that. So it's a collaboration. It's a working together. Yes, that's why when they're not together, collaborating or working together in this community, they have problems. So I don't know, like, when I left that first place, it was because I was sick of, like, oh, when I get money, when I can, blah, blah, blah. That was fine. I didn't care. We started off bartering. It didn't need to be about the money. But the other problem is like, if you're not going to pay me, and you're not going to even run the classes that are for the exchange, that becomes a problem, Like, I don't owe anybody anything, anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I don't owe buddy. I don't do that. I don't like to owe people, because it's like a fucking, it's like a hook. They've hooked you, and you owe them, and fuck that. So, I don't like it. I don't like feeling obligated. I don't like feeling, like, put upon. I don't like feeling like I'm doing that to other people. And it's probably because of trauma and fucked upness. But at least I can look back and be like, yeah, I didn't do anything wrong in that situation, and I don't owe anybody anything, like, things like that. I don't even know how I got here, but basically, because I'm saying, like, you've got to protect yourself, and people do things without even trying sometimes. Like, you can have a friend, and they can be your friend, and you can be friends with each other, and love each other, and like each other, and want the best for each other, truly, ultimately do. But if that person is doing much better than you are, or you perceive that, if you perceive it that way, then you may start to resent that person, or get jealousy with that person, or that person pushes your buttons for some fucking reason. The problem I have is I know when people's buttons are being pushed. I know what they're thinking. I know what they're feeling. And I ask, and I don't even get answers, like, back a lot of times, because people don't want to admit when there's a problem. People don't want to admit how they're feeling. People don't want to be feeling the feeling a lot of times. And the reason why I think a lot of people feel those feelings and get to those places and get triggered or whatever is because of whatever's been told to them, or whatever they're believing about themselves, or whatever has been done to them from being on this planet. I see it with my parents. Like you, that's another thing too. It's like my mom, like, she would get, like, jealous. She would get mad. She used to, like when I was a kid, all right, I never even had a, right, never registered within my mind as a possibility for something to think about. But one time when I was getting older, okay, now I'm not a little tiny girl anymore. My stepdad and I used to, like, play fight, and one day he told me, like, your mom gets mad. I was like, what? So she, like, gets mad at him for play fighting with me. But I didn't know. She never told me. But that's that jealousy thing that she was feeling, about it. And that fueled shit. And that's actually the last time that they ever fucking were together. Like, whatever stuff was said, things were done, whatever. I'm the fucking reason why she stopped talking to him, because of me. Like, she did something with the door, he did something, whatever. I don't know. I don't even know what happened. I was asleep. That's it. I'm always asleep. My life falls apart when I'm asleep. It's because I'm Taurus. We just fucking go to sleep. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but when you have a lot of shit going on, or you're, like, so overwhelmed, you just, like, want to die, I shut down and go take a nap. I'm like, I'm just gonna take a nap. It'll be fine. I'll deal with this never. I do. I have that tendency. Or I don't sleep at all, and I just think way too much. And I'm, like, on the other opposite end of, like, sleep. I'm like, I can't sleep. I have to do all of these things right now. It's hard. It's hard to be a human. It's hard to live with other people on this planet. It's hard to do good, and it's hard to do good in a couple of different ways, because sometimes it's just hard to do good. Sometimes it's hard to show up. Sometimes it's hard to communicate to the fucking people on the planet, or to, like, want to. But then when you do, it can be hard, because there's people who don't hear you right, there's people who do hear you right, and they just don't like, and then there's the people who do like, but only to a degree, until you're, do one thing or say one thing. That's the biggest fucking problem I find everywhere on the world, is that judgment. And I know I make a judgment by judging, like, the judgment, right? Like that. It's non-stop. It's just never stopping. It's always gonna be there. But we can do it in a way, I think sometimes it's, like, a little bit better. It sucks. It's like, this is my truth, okay? And I feel bad. I don't like sharing my truth. But it's still there. It's still what it is. I can't change how other people treated me. I can't change the life that has been here, that I've been within. Like I didn't pick, well, supposedly I did, but I didn't pick the actions of others, They say that you pick your parents, right? You pick your parents, I'm gonna get these two people, they're gonna be mom and dad. And my dad really does believe, like, he's like, you're like, because, okay, my mom and him were very young when they met, like 11 and 12, they were kids. They didn't have me until they were in their 20s. And he's still, like, they got back together back right before she went to the hospital. Like, she went to the hospital the last time that she went in, but there was one time before that, and what brought her there was him. Like, they were being idiots. They were drinking and, like, driving around, and I don't even know, they were acting like kids again, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, so mad. Because he needed a freaking surgery on his arm, and she was with me the day that I, like, brought him to do that, and then I brought him back home, and they were both living in Kingston at this time, so it was like, they're close together, and he, I don't know, he milked it. He milked his fucking little arm thing. Because she was like, you need a ride to the grocery store, I could take you. And that's what sparked that time. But they started drinking, and when he drinks, it doesn't usually end with him being on this side of the bars. So that's where he went, and she and him kind of just stopped being friends. She was like, fuck you, bye. Oh, well, he took her car. He brought her to the hospital, then he took her car and stole it, took off. And that's when he went to the hospital. He went to jail again. She was there. So yeah, like that's a weird part of my story. But when they were young, like my mom had stuff happen when she was a kid with a man, like men, okay, older people. Yeah, whatever they do, it seems to be a common fucking thing in this world for some reason. It happens. I don't know why. I'm sorry to anybody who's experienced it. It can come in many different ways. Like it doesn't always come from some dude, like old man, whatever. Like there's women that will do stuff, and there's other people your own age that will do stuff that you don't want them to do, or they will try. And some people are just people that I don't know how they got here, what they're fucking thinking, what brought them to be the way they are. Like, think about, there's people out there who murder other people and are like, that was fun, I don't do it again. Like, and they do it to a lot of people. So, I don't know, man, it's just, there's a lot of weird fucked up shit. But when she went through all of what she went through, she had stuff happen and all of that, bad things. There was a couple of times that she and him got pregnant, but it never happened. Like they didn't come to be, or there was interference. And then when it was like, she thought, I don't know, because she went with other guys too at different times. Like they didn't just get together, stay together forever. It was like, oh, hey, bump, 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 in and out, back and forth. Twin flame bullshit, basically. And one of the times she got pregnant, here I am, and it was the only one that did it, that made it. So he's like, I know you were definitely meant to be, because like she didn't even think she could have baby because of all the other things what happened to her. There was like a sexual transmitted disease at some point that one of the older fucking asshole dudes that did what they did gave to her, and she didn't even know until having whatever happened. And then because of that, she was like messed up in the head about it. She had given it to my dad, and she didn't even know, because she, like, in her, like, in their world, or in like the version of the reality that she should have existed within, and the version of reality that, like, if it was her choice, and that normal version of reality with him too, like for him, because he doesn't know that there's these old men that did what they did to her at that time. And so she had like all this guilt and all this shit about giving him a that, when they're not even supposed to either one ever have been whatever, and it messed her up. But then when she would have, like, she had a miscarriage, and she had a lot of them. I remember after I was born, when she was with my stepdad, again, it was like, there was like this feeling that like maybe she can't get pregnant because like the guy that she was with that was not my dad, like, she didn't use protection, but she never got pregnant, ever. 'Cause she didn't think she could. Or that if she did, it wouldn't stay. Like, because every time she had gotten pregnant before, it was like, whatever. I remember when I was a kid, and it was a traumatic thing that triggers the memory, because it's not a bad, huge trauma. When I say traumatic, it is traumatic to a child. It is traumatic to your brain. And it does fuck you up when people do shit like this. My mom and my stepdad were trying for a baby. She had had a couple of fucking miscarriages already. But at this time, she was like further along. This was the time that we were actually, like, people were finding out about it, because they weren't in that weird stage in the beginning where you don't know. Is it gonna? We don't know. Because they even say, don't fucking say something, because you can have a miscarriage, and blah, 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 blah. And then they do. And then everybody, and then it's like, So, this one was the one that was looking like it was gonna be actually coming about. But it didn't. And I remember I was upset at my aunt's house. My Aunt Bridget, who lived behind me. And then my Aunt Fran was there that day. And she is a douchebag. I hate her. I hope she hears this. So evil. She's just a bitch. Okay? So, and she is, like, on so many levels. Like, I won't even get into it. But, and I didn't even spend that much time with her. But, for whatever reason, this was, like, the one thing that she wanted to fucking say to me. I was at my aunt's, was upset. Remember, I came out of the back bedroom. There was a bedroom all the way at the end of the hall. My aunt's house was huge, and there was like 20 fucking people that lived there at one point. Okay? She had fucking 20-something horses. She had all these fucking cats. She had fucking acres and acres and acres of old cars that were like the old cars, like the cool old cars that are worth money. There was a barn full of them. There was a second barn for this stuff. There was the hayloft that was full of shit. There was like all these things to do all the time. And then like acres and acres and acres out behind there that go to the Jones River. There was like a place that I would go that connect to it. There was like a little stream, or you had to jump over like a thing to get to it. So that's where I grew up. On her, she gave us I'm gonna say grandfather, but it's gonna sound weird, okay? So my stepdad, he's my stepdad, okay? But he came from his dad, first marriage, okay? So then my grandfather uncle, who met my Aunt Bridget, long time ago, they got married. But he had already, been with that woman before. That's where George came from, my stepdad. Okay, so there's no blood relation there, there's no connection there, there's nothing there. It's just sisters, married, father and son. But the father and son came from far away, they came from far away, and it was like, oh, these sisters are, hey, all right, father and son, boom, okay? But it does make things complicated when you have an uncle who now becomes your step-parent, grandpa, you know? So he's like my step grandpa. But because the girls were little, you know, I was 10 when they came out. My mom had, you know, and this is the thing, like she finally had babies, but it took a while. I was 10 when Victoria came. Then my dad decided to spit one out. I think it was out of spite or fucking, hey, I can do it too. And then Chrissy came, and that was, you know, like very close together. They're 14 months apart. Boom, boom. You know, so proved her wrong. You can get pregnant. You get pregnant twice. Boom. So she started her second life then. And that's why we were there. Okay, so his dad owned that land. My Aunt Bridget is that's her husband who owns that land. So basically she owned the land because she was like in control of a lot of shit there. But it was like they both were. He ran a huge business with like all of his farms and concrete trucks and doing his stuff out there. He had all the cars, he had all the like things happening, and then she had all the horses and all the other stuff and all the, and then like that's not easy, that's not cheap, it's not inexpensively living. Like they were constantly doing stuff. So she had, you know, that captain spirit. But when my Aunt Mary passed away, she left her 3 kids with her. And then my aunt had 2 kids. And my uncle, grandpa, had his mother living out there too in half of the house for a while. So then my uncle George and his 2 kids had nowhere to go. So she let them go there. And then my mom and my stepdad and me decided to live there too in a trailer in the yard. And until our house was built. Because there was like the front of the house, there was two acres in the front of the house. That was like, boom, boom. They were both horse corrals. If you look at like where that lot is, where our house is, you can tell it was like, here's one horse corral and here's another horse corral and there's a driveway. They moved the driveway to the other side so that it wouldn't be going down the middle of our house, and got rid of the horse corrals and we built a house there. And that's where we were. My mom and my Aunt Bridget stopped talking at one point. My stepdad and my step-grandpa uncle stopped talking at one point. Like, so it was falling apart there. Craziness. All these things happening. So much stuff. That's why it's like, well, I don't know how to fucking, like, convey that. Like, I've seen these things and I understand all of this stuff because of all the vastness of these places that have been available to me to live through. But when she finally decided, you know, I'm going to try, like, we're going to tell people, my fucking, of course, being a kid, like, I think I was like 8 or 9, because this was before they got the one to stick, my Aunt Fran was like, you do realize it's not going to be your real sister or brother, right? Like, why the fuck you care, bitch? You know what I mean? About me, basically. Like, you shouldn't be upset because it's not even gonna be a real brother. What the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Why would you say that to a child who's upset about the fact that her little brother or sister didn't make it? My mom put me down to the end of that fucking hallway into that room to let me know softly. And, like, you know, sorry that, but like the fact that she sat me down to tell me about it in the way that she did alone speaks volumes about the fucking, like, this is a big thing. You know, it's not a little thing. You shouldn't have dismissed it as a, oh, it's not gonna be your real brother or sister anyway. Oh, thanks, that makes me feel so much better, you fucking bitch. What the fuck? No. So yeah, that stuck out. And that's why, like, when I, like, because my dad has mentioned it a couple of times recently, and he was, feeling guilty again. He's always fucking guilty. He always feels bad. He always feels guilty, sad. And it's like, don't. Life happens. Things play out. We can't fucking live back there, because if we do, we never have anything come, you know, here. You fucking 10 years from now, you look back, I wish I didn't sit there and look back at that time from then time, because if I hadn't, something better may have came about by now. And I've wasted all this time thinking about the past. So now I gotta stop thinking about the past so that I can have a future. So if you're somebody that does that, I know it's it's hard sometimes to not think about the past. Like, obviously, I'm talking about the past, but I do feel that talking about it, writing about it, communicating, like, or just even knowing that you're not alone, or that, or hearing, like, sometimes, because I think a lot of people don't realize what's wrong or right because they weren't surrounded by what was right, or they weren't surrounded by anything that was ever wrong. So if and that happens, it's like, holy shit, you had a healthy upbringing with no weirdness. You had, like, just you're like, like a fucking, in my world, that's like a TV life. Like the what is that show, Full House? All right, obviously it wasn't like the best of times because, like, the mom had died or whatever, but that's not even, like, they never talked about that. See, they never talked about it. They just like, oh, Jesse, oh. Or the little girl there, that was two of them. They just came and swapped in and out of places for each other. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Yeah, see, like, even that on TV, the way that was perceived by people, okay, that sets up a false thing in people's brains. First of all, it makes them feel like there's something wrong with them or their family because they're not so nice, and oh my god, blah, 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 blah. And when they had, like, issues or whatever, they just put on some music. Just some nice music in the background to, like, go through these traumatic moments, and that made everything better. Jesse, I can't be with you anymore. I'm sorry. I'm gonna, I don't know, have some freaking thing with pizza or whatever. There was never, like, a normal problem. It was never, like, a normal thing. And even the normal things were basically just, like, so weak. Like, I'm jealous that you had pizza without me. I'm gonna leave. They never really had any big real problems. And I don't know. So it makes it feel like, oh, that's how life is supposed to be. So when people hit these real life problems, they don't know how to fucking cope with it. Or they cope with it like how they've seen. Oh, I'm just going to put a smile on and pretend everything's fine. Oh, yeah. My wife just died and left me here with all these girls. And I'm going to take care of them with these two dudes. Totally normal and fine. And I know it happens. I know that there's people out there that probably like the show because of that. But again, it's not real. It's not real life. It's not relatable. Even if it did come to be, I'm sure that there would be a hell of a lot more than, like, the little girl having, like, a, I'm just sad because I miss mom. You'd have, like, some, like, messed up shit going on with the little girl sometimes, probably, acting out or feeling sad, feeling depressed. I haven't really ever seen too much of anything that really conveys what people go through here. And then when people don't talk about it, know about it, see it, I don't know. I feel like there's so many people on this planet that don't even realize, like, how much of a weird, like, system they're in, or robotic type of existence that just, it's like, feels like there's people out there that aren't even really there, or that they don't have a soul, or if their soul is there, it got shut off, or they forget about it, or I don't know. Maybe they're just really young in the scheme of things with soul levels. But I think some of you will know what I mean by that. And I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to sound like a horrible person or whatever. But I also do believe that if you have somehow made it through this planet up until now without being scathed by some severe trauma or some fucked up shit, good for you, like, just, I guess maybe it would be a good idea to stay in your little pod of not paying attention. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is, like, some people can shut it off and act like it didn't happen ever, or that there's not a whole lot of shit bad at this time, and because of that, they don't see it, they don't create it, they're not attracting it, because they're not looking at it, because they don't care. But unfortunately, the empaths, the starseeds, the light workers, those who have turned on, or they have their heart open enough, or they care enough, or they've noticed enough to want to say something, or, like, think differently than the rest. I think that's desperately needed. Because there's not a lot of people doing it. I've seen people open up though, and I've seen people change, and I really do believe that we are star seeds in this concept of we are planting seeds of consciousness. We are waking people up from that fucking sleep of just existing and getting by and not expressing my feelings and not chasing after my dreams, just doing what they want me to do, which, you know, they even said, like, the dude who built the first school system is like, I don't want thinkers, I want workers. Okay, so basically, you want people that conform. You want people that get up every day, same time, Monday through Friday. They're going to celebrate their weekend like it's some big fucking special thing. Like it's a, you know, different day of the week. The days of the week are fucking stupid made up stuff. Nothing exists like that in the freeness of your own life. You don't have to be looking forward to Friday. You don't have to be living scheduled schedules, having somebody else tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, you know. You probably should in some ways, like, you know, find somebody to help you to do things if you don't know, for that sense of it. But once you figure it out, do it and keep doing it, and then keep learning new things that can help you to keep doing it better and keep going. And don't let others deter you, because they will. Their thoughts, their stuff, their little fucking digs of, who got your real brother or sister? Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. That's what I have to say. They are. They really are. They actually like my kids, because I had fucked up parents that couldn't take care of them like normal parents, so I had to take care of them like a fucking parent, just like I did my parents. So, yeah. When I say to my kids, it's not like, it's like, I already fucking had them, dude. I've got a couple of them. I'm still taking care of them. Like, right now. They're always there. And then now the kids are making kids. Chrissy made a kid. So it's another kid that I care about. I don't want to keep caring about kids. It causes problems. It makes karma. Fucking come on back in here if you care too much about shit. Or think too much about it. Or don't change the thing that's been playing out. You know? Sometimes there's these repetitive things keep happening. These people come in and out of our lives and all of that, because you're supposed to do it differently. You know? Do it the right way. Do what is right. Don't fucking pretend that you don't feel. Don't pretend that it didn't hurt. Don't pretend that you don't care. Don't pretend that you're fulfilled if you're not. You know? And if you have something that makes you fulfilled, don't worry about who else gets fulfilled by it or not. Because if people are looking at what fulfills you with a problem, it's because they're not fulfilled with themselves. And they ain't going to get there by telling you what you should or shouldn't have fulfilling you. And when you think about all these people on the planet, right, who they come in and they want to change themselves, okay? Like they don't feel like they belong in that body that they're in, whether it's female, male, whatever, non-binary, and again, I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. I don't judge anybody about that. Like, I do feel like it's probably tied to belief systems about stuff, or that somebody has probably experienced something in many of those cases, because in many of those cases, I have seen these people after the fact who are miserable. They're not happy. They wish that they didn't do it. Or, you know, something worse comes about. Or maybe they don't say that at all. Maybe they did like it, and that's an individual's experience. No judgment. Whatever makes you happy or fulfills you, it's fine. But my problem is when I'm seeing these kids do that and not be fulfilled, that's a fucking problem. That's getting bigger now. You're not helping that person. And if you're the adult in that situation, you shouldn't have your child changing in the middle of its life, because it feels that way right now. I fucking felt a lot of ways, dude. Like, I was everything in the book. I was like, one day showing up in my Jinko jeans, the next day showing up like a punk rocker, the next day I was a preppy girl with my little skirt. Like, I went through it all. I felt like boy, I felt like girl. I was called a boy in first grade because I cut my hair short, like the freaking woman that I was hanging out with at that time, because I didn't know she was a lesbian. I didn't know cutting my hair that short was going to be like one of those things I shouldn't do. Like, but I was a kid and I didn't judge. But I fucking got judged. And I never knew about that until like later in life when I found out. I was like, she's a lesbian? Like, and she's just a woman in my life, okay? That I would like play with, have fun with. She was nice to me. She wasn't an asshole. She was gay. She was happy, okay? Gay people are happy for some reason. Probably because they're not living a fucking lie. But, you know, they're out there. She was happy, being herself, doing her thing. And occasionally we would see each other and she'd be nice to me. And I don't know. Actually, the other person that was around too, she was the one that actually took me to get my hair cut. But the other one is the one that inspired that haircut. And again, these are all older people. I never had people my age that I was like hanging out with. It was always older people. Even like the people that were younger were a few years older. The last guy that I was with was closer in age to my mother than I was. They used to get along better than I did. Like, they would team up against me. They would order the same food. They were both fucking Aries. They were like, just, you know, always have the same fucking response to stuff. And that's like, I was like, oh my God. One of the times I realized, because my mother used to come stay at that house before, you know, before the house was gone. She would come stay occasionally, you know, and I would like save things like for her, and she was always there, but like they were like so much alike. But I finally realized one day when I was like ordering their food and they both ordered the same shit, and just I was like, oh my God, I'm dating my mother. I was like, what the hell? But they say we do that. We end up like almost like, you know, going towards the people who remind us of our parents, or similarly, because that's our attachment. Okay. However you come into this world, your parents are the ones you attach to. So that's your attachment style, usually. And if you went through some weird stuff, or even just what the majority of people went through, because, like, some parents were told to let the baby cry it out. Leave the baby there in the crib, the baby be cool, let it go. And because of that, those kids got messed up a little bit. They're like, fucking, okay, I have to depend on me, only me, never anybody else. Everybody that's out there is just gonna fucking hurt me, or they're gonna leave, or whatever. It is not safe for me to depend on you to give me love. So I don't want it because it's not familiar. Okay? That's how we get those avoidant people. Then there's the ones like my mom and dad who were probably worlds apart. My mom would probably be like, yeah, leave it there. And my dad would be like, I can't do it. And fucking finally cave in and come get me. Okay? So what that creates is like, you know, that mixture of avoidancy and of anxiousness, because it's like when it gets to be too far, it's like, oh God, like, you know, like I'm gonna die in the crib if somebody doesn't come. Okay, like my dad would be like, okay, I'm gonna go get her. No, I don't even know, because my mom did take care of me by herself a lot when he was gone, but that wasn't like his choice to just go. You know, it was just what happened. But she, you know, I survived. I'm here. So obviously she wasn't like gonna let me die. But when we talk about our emotions and things like that, and like being attached and detached and all of those things, this is how it comes about. Very, very simple things. You didn't have to be beat to hell every day of your life for you to be a little messed up emotionally, romantically, in all of those ways. And there is different various degrees, you know. So there's people who are anxious, okay? Usually twin flame chasers are anxious, okay? That's like, oh my God. Like, it just goes hand in hand. It's like that person's in the chasing mode. So again, and they change, because you could go through a relationship with somebody and the way that they behave is going to bring out a version of you. Then you go with another person and a different version emerges, and that's just how it is. Like, there's been dudes that I dated that I was like the fucking fully on, like, I'm not here, I'm avoidant type, but I did love them, I did care about them, I would connect with them and all of that, but I was more avoidant rather than anxious. And the anxious would be like, it's like overwhelming, like, fear of like, they're gonna leave, they're not gonna stay, they're like me, there's some reason, oh my God, they're mad at me. And the reason that the person thinks they're mad is because the other one's avoidant. But it's not mad, it's not avoidant. It is avoidant, okay? But it's not mad. They're not mad at you. They're not anything at you. They're just in their fucking box. avoiding like everything. It's not just you. But when you start freaking the fuck out, that just stresses them out and they just want to avoid more. So you push them further away. But it's a natural thing in a lot of us. And it is on various degrees. It's not like, it's like a spectrum. It's like there's the autism spectrum. Some kids very, very like disconnected from here. And they have all these different stuff going on for them. And then others, you wouldn't even know that they're on the spectrum unless they told you, or you might catch it in like a quirky little way. Like they take what you say to mean, like actually mean what you said. Like they don't get that stuff. Like the little jokes, I don't know, it's hard to come up with something. It was like when you say don't throw the baby out with the bathwater the other day, I said that on my reading I did. There would be like some people on the spectrum who would like literally take that as like who did that? Like, like thinking that that's something that happened. Because they take things very logical. They take things very much like it is. Like, well, if you said it, it must mean that that's real or that's here right now. They don't have that sarcasm button as much. But again, it's in various degrees, because I've seen, like my mom, when I was growing up, one of my sisters, she went to school and then like just never went back, and it was because of how overwhelming it was, and she was like freaking out. And I used to get that way the first day of school. I would get a stomach ache and I would get like sick and so nervous, and I just hated it. I hated going. But I would usually like get better as time went on, but she went one day and never went back for like high school. So they ended up, doing homeschooling and things to get her thing. She ended up going to college and having normal stuff. But at that time, she was like wicked about stuff. Like she can't wear a shirt with buttons, or there's certain things she just doesn't like. I buy her fucking soft blankets every year because I don't know what else to get. I'm like, here you can have a fucking soft fuzzy blanket. I know you like that. And maybe it's going to be the wrong fuzzy. We never know. But that's my mom thought that she might have Asperger's, which was like a form of it, where it's not like there's, it was more so like very advanced mentally, logically. Like she's wicked smart. She could do all of the shit on the computer. She's like make like $100,000 a year just fucking typing shit. Like, yeah, she's good with that, but she don't like buttons, It's a sensory thing. And and she would take things very logically, and she has a totally different way of looking at stuff than like me and my sister Chrissy. I like the and she's like the brainiac. So what she thinks is funny to us is like, that's not funny. But like my other sister's closer because they're very close in age. So she gets her. She's like our fucking translator, or our like way of communicating, or like brings us together, She's like the I don't know what you call that, like the buffer, because like they just have a different way of relating with each other. And that's, again, an okay thing. And we gotta find that plays out time and time again. But that's just how everybody is and how everybody perceives their way of coming into this world. And if you come in and you dealt with things that were not easy, it makes it hard to share stuff. It makes it hard to know like what's best for you, or are you repeating patterns? What is the way to break the pattern? What's the correct thing that you even care about? All of that stuff. It's overwhelming, and it's a lot to deal with. But the more that you understand it, or the more that you like put these pieces together of what life is and how these dynamics play into it, and by understanding it, it can be like life changing. Like I was a chaser, mode for Twin Flame Land, and then when I fucking realized like what it was and what it was doing, I was like, yeah, okay, we're gonna stop doing that as much as possible. I can't help sometimes being anxious or feeling nervous based off of what I've already, been through. And that's exactly what that is. It's your way of relating to the world, and it's based off of the behaviors of others. So when the people that are around you have shown you things that equal this, it's hard to add up the pieces and not expect that, or not react as if that is the case happening. But if you practice and you try and you communicate and you tell people and you learn and you grow and you evolve and you heal, keep ascending and you keep doing the work and you keep getting your mind expanded about life and all of that, consciousness and energy, frequency, put a little bit of effort in, usually you can heal that stuff and overcome that stuff. And maybe someday you will find, like, what was once, like, fucking impossible or really much more difficult will be easy. Or, you know, maybe you'll change your mind, or maybe you will flip sides, because that does happen too, especially in the twin land. I've seen people go from being chaser to runner, and vice versa. And sometimes people don't even realize that they're doing it, because they're in it. They're just living, and they perceive it to be the way that they perceive it to be. So try to, you know, just be self-aware, and that eliminates a lot of the problems that we find everybody having in life. You know, and just keep trying. But yeah, I had a crazy couple of weeks here. Eclipse energy, like, took over my life. My house was, like, magnetized. Like, I tried to show people on the video, but I cut it down quick, like, little pieces of the video, because how people are and how Instagram is. It's just like, it's hard, because I don't know what people want either. I don't want to make a 5-hour long video that people watch 5 minutes of, you know? It's like, why would I do that? So if you're somebody that does want to see more of what I have already shared, if you saw the fairy, if you saw the light bulb thingy that was, like, talking to me, if you saw the, what do you call it? There's so many things, all right? So there's these orbs that were in my hair. There was, like, the light that was out in the field that was, like, it would pulsate when I would talk to it. I was like, you know, if it was like a yes, it would, like, poof, like, pulsate, like a big bang of light. You could tell it was pulsing. Okay, I was doing that, and that was the same day that I talked to the fairy out my window that, like, is like a little blob of weird whiteness, but it had wings that you can see at one point when it was on the other tree. Then it went over to that tree where it sat on the very top of it, and the very top of this, like, little branch that was out there, sat very top, and, like, little tiny boop boop. It's like the size of my fucking pinky finger. Like, it's like the tip of my pinky finger is what this thing is. But it like, glows somewhat, and it has, like, these white wispy things. And when I would talk to it, told it, you know, to shake back and forth for no and up and down for yes, and it would. But it was also very windy out that day. Like, so at certain times the wind would blow. You wouldn't know which way she was going. Like, did you go up and down, or was that the wind? Then she started getting mad. And, like, she was like, and you could tell, because she's, like, flicking back and forth in the energy of her body. Like, it's hard to tell people this. It's hard to fucking even understand it yourself. It's like, I just know what she was doing, or what like, why, on an inner level, on my spiritual level, on the knowing level. But, you know, when you look at it, you can see what I'm saying, I would think, but I don't ever know, because some people aren't there. They're not at that level of the fucking frequency or something, and they just turned it off, and they, like, just won't let themselves believe. So, wherever you are, you know, if it's something that you would want to see more of, I just uploaded all the video onto my YouTube, but I didn't publish it. I just have it, like, sitting there. So I was gonna do, like, a screen recording of the different times, and then try to do, like, a longer version of what I've already shared, so that people can see what I mean. Like it's not like a 5-minute event that I sat there. Like, it, you know, it takes time to ask these questions. It takes time to communicate with them. You're not going to get a 30-second time span and have, like, this big, profound experience. So if you get frustrated after 5 minutes of trying to do something, you probably don't want to try to do it. But it started off with me having the stuff showing up on my lives. Then I sat here one night, did, like, a 30-minute video talking to my mom, like, pointing around the house, pointing around my room, and there was activity in it. It's not huge activity like it was in the live. There was tons in the live. There was a little thing that popped up behind me, like 4 or 5 times, clear as day. Fucking, so everybody sees it, okay? And then there was times that it was in the bed. There was times that, like, the dog tried to bite it. There was times that I could see the energy all over my body. You could see me being uncomfortable by it too. And then there was, like, a video where I was recording and looking, because I could feel it around me. The dog was freaking out, staring at me. It pulled my hair out, like, straight out from the side of my head over. And you could just see me look at the dog, and the dog, like, oh! And you could see the dog's ears move too, which to me looked like it was that stuff being pulled. You know, like that magnetic energy. So, yeah, like that showed up, okay? Touched me. I've got it on camera. There was a rail that I made where it popped up in my hair. It opened my hair up like it was like a fucking, like it was out on a show. It's like open the curtains, come through the middle. Here I am. This white thing, little white thing that was in my room for the live came through my hair on that rail, and I was like, what the fuck? The stars, okay, the stars change, and then there's stars out there, they're very close together, six in a row, right, boom, 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 boom. I don't see any stars out there that do that ever, and the way that they were positioned tells me that they were not a fucking star, they were like a ship, but they were like cloaked or hiding behind stuff at different points, but there are some points where I did get the whole ship, or like the whole layout of it. It's like a triangle of those lights. And it, you know, it's at different points. But again, I've got fucking tons and tons of stuff that I recorded. So it's like, it was like overwhelming too, because then my phone stopped working. It wouldn't save anything. I deleted a 3-hour-long video to make room for this 1-hour video that I wanted to put into there. And it was like, no, not enough space. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. How was that 3-hour video in there if there's no space for this 1-hour video when I take the 3-hour video out? So I've reset my phone back to factory settings. And I've finally been able to get some things done, like in terms of like sharing it. I finally got the ceremony that I did to cleanse the land and do the blessing for the Native Americans that were here that I talked to that day. I have like an hour-long video. So that hour-long video, I started talking to the Native Americans out in the field. Boom, boom, boom. I can see them out there. They're bouncing around doing shit. Lots of orbs flying through faster than the speed of light. And then there are... I was still pointing out there from then. That's when I started talking to that white little boop boop, okay? That little fluffy fluff. Okay, talking to her. Boop boop, boop boop boop. She says she's from Sirius. Okay. Then from her, I look over. There's the ball of light out there. Archangel Michael. Okay? The first time I asked for Archangel Michael, I didn't give him enough time to give me a pulse. So it took a while, got back around. It was Archangel Michael, and he pulsed. I was like, oh, fuck. And then I asked him, are you this, are you that? Like, I was like, were you that thing in that yard at that time? And boop, boop, boop. And he's like, yeah, pulse. I'm like, okay, so it was Archangel Michael that whole time. I was like, what about the Pleiadians? About pulse? Yep, okay. So I got a lot of answers. Talked to my mom the other night, too. Like, I was playing back something. I was screen recording it. I have that whole thing captured. People want to hear stuff from that, I can play that, too. Or show that. I can give the video and let you see it. And let you hear it and all of that. But I just never know what people actually want or what people are going to even bother to look at or care about, because it's hard to know, you know? It's like, I know a lot of people want the fucking twin flame, like, hear what the person is and but you're never going to get anywhere doing that, you know? Worry more about you, bettering you. How can you be the best you? How can you get in union with you? Because that's the only way you're going to get to union with anybody else. You know, be in love with you so that they can love you the same degree and mirror that back to you, because they are your mirror. So if you don't love you, you won't let others love you the way that they would if you were allowing true love to be. Okay? So we're at the end of this. Alcyon is back in the house. She was out there that night when we did the ceremony. I said, I now open the light of the vortex to Alcyon. And here she comes out the door. Boo, 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 boo. Alcyon. She ran around out there by herself, no other dogs with her, and acted crazy the whole time. So I know she felt it. Huh. Yeah, she's laid against me. Just. Alright, so I will be back. If you have a place to comment, do it. If not, please like, share. Namaste.